This is a message to the so-called Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, HUD, FHA, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and FinCEN, especially all of the above. When you have the largest banks and savings and loans in the world laundering huge amounts of money in the trillions for the largest criminal syndicates, the drug traffickers, the weapons traffickers, the human traffickers, the terrorists, the so-called organized criminals of the world, when you're laundering vast amounts of money in the trillions for these slobs, and at the very same time, you're funding predatory mortgages, subprime predatory foreclosures, and you're, turning the dirty money into freshly repossessed American real estate. You're using the mortgage markets, the mortgage lending business, to launder your money, which makes the mortgages all traceable to criminal activity. Now, I know that might seem overly simple, but the bottom line is you can't be laundering trillions for the most notorious criminals in the history of the world, and a lot of the politicians that they buy and put in their pockets. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George Bush, the Clintons, just to name a few, Nancy Pelosi and Chucky Schumer, and lots of the other so-called politicians in this country that are in the pockets of these crooked banks. You can't launder trillions upon trillions of dollars in one hand, and then in the other hand be engaged in the mortgage business, using the dirty money to be laundered in the mortgage industry. Now, to the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, you have been sent extensive communications. The information associated with this is below. The communications with the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, FinCEN, the Department of Justice, the FHA, HUD, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the whole U.S. government is attached below. Now, suffice it to say, you can't be laundering trillions for the dirtiest criminals in the world and at the same time engaged in mortgage lending with the proceeds of the profits from and the money that is being laundered. I don't know how else to explain this to you, but the United States government's law enforcement agencies, their records and files on these issues have been demanded under the Freedom of Information laws. Cough up the records of who was laundering the money while at the same time engaged in these rather unique mortgage practices. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the government agencies that have been demanded of to produce their files and records, they know they're kind of stuck on the hook because Freedom of Information laws requires this information to be produced. So now they're engaging in games like, what are the names, the dates, who exactly did what and when, and, or they can't produce their records and files. Well, let me get down to avoidances and violating the letter and the spirit of the Freedom of Information laws of the United States, and then we can get down to violating the letter and spirit of the law of the states' open records laws, because you see, HUD, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Department of Justice, Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, the federal courts, on and on and on. They all do business in and orchestrate their activities amongst the states, making the states' open record laws applicable to them as well. So, everybody knows who I am. I don't even have to tell you who I am. Everybody knows that I'm the guy that has been exposing the toxic zombie developments, the toxic zombie assets, these real estate schemes and scams, and minerals and oil and gas, and all kinds of aircraft lending and military lending and secondary markets of investments in derivatives and investments in credit default swaps. Where do they get the money to invest in credit default swaps? And then, of course, you move on down the food chain to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And are they laundering all this money through the cryptocurrency markets? Well, where are they getting the money in the first place? If it's even money under the rules and laws of usufruct. Yeah, usufruct. 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 The currency, the notes, the bills, the so-called money being laundered. It's a great, big, huge, stinking, filthy game, and it's used to enable and finance and make wealthy some of the most corrupt, bought off, paid off, sick, psychotic politicians in the history of the world. People, well, like Donald Trump and like Joe Biden and I don't know, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and the Bushes and, Nancy Pelosi, and the list just goes on and on and on how these enormously powerful politicians of the federal government, and then you've got little slimeball piggy poos like Andy Cuomo and a bunch of state level government actors that have been bought off by these filthy, dirty, money laundering bankster gangster slobs with huge amounts of dirty money. The whole system's rotten to the core. Now, it might be rigged, Donald Trump, but what is rigged is so corrupt it staggers the mind. So, folks, the Consumer Finance Protection Board and FinCEN, FBI, Department of Justice, and all of the law enforcement agencies that are responsible, like the United States Secret Service, for regulating these gangster bankster stinking slobs, their records have been demanded on who's laundering money and engaged in the predatory mortgage business and the predatory foreclosure the churning of the properties. Folks, I think old Judson Witham's going to leave it right there. And to all my enemies, kiss my ass. You're preying on families. You're ruining the futures of children. And you're destroying the end of grandma and grandpa's lives. And you suck, you stink, you're rotten to the core. And I hope you get everything that you deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, what more can you say? I'm going to leave it right there. And to all the people that have been playing me, the last few years, may you burn in hell with the son of a bitch and banksters. Have a wonderful day.